Today's episode is for the guy who works from home. He doesn't even realize it. He's slowly disappearing because of chatbots and working from home. He's lacking social isolation. Work from home didn't just change your job, it killed the environments where young men used to build friendships and relationships. A common phrase I'm hearing in our community is IRL is the new luxury. Though that's cool phrasing, it fucked me up. I was thinking all week, asking myself, what does that mean, IRL is the new luxury? The problem is we're becoming a generation that is screen dependent between podcasts, live streams, chatbots, work meetings, multiple screens for your work meetings. I can't think of a real block of time where personally I'm not dependent on a screen for some interaction or cheap dopamine. Hell, Rich and I are talking right now from a screen, multiple screens. So if you feel like your entire life is home, work from home, go back home, go from your living room to your bedroom, and you're not getting outside, literally, you're not touching grass, literally, and you feel dead inside, you feel a little disconnected from the world, disconnected and socially isolated, you're not alone. This episode is for you. Rich and I are here to tell you what no one's gonna tell you. Working from home didn't make you introverted. It made you underexposed. And playing video games and watching live streamers do their thing all day is not ruining your social skills. It's just cheap dopamine on steroids. It's fun, but it's like fast food. You're sacrificing a lot for entertainment and you don't even know it. One day you're gonna get up and realize, damn, I haven't really spoken to my best friend, family, a coworker in real life in weeks and months. You've deleted the environment that builds tribe, socialization around you. It's ruining your confidence. I'm excited about this episode because I believe it leads to a lot of entry points to bigger conversations that are ruining a lot of social skills for young men. I want to start here though, because I think this was ground zero for all of this. You remember the pandemic when we first found out we had to work from home? I felt like a lot of that isolation came from that period in our lives. Do you remember working from home and how it affected your life and how it affected you after the pandemic?
Yeah, man. I remember the pandemic like it was yesterday. And I felt like when the pandemic first hit and we were allowed to work from home, bro, I thought this was great. Like I don't have to commute. I don't have to go to the office. I could just wake up, work from home from with my PJs on, and I never had to get dressed or commute to work. And for the first couple of months, I thought it was great. Years later, I actually ended up getting transitioning to a new job during the pandemic that was completely work from home. So I ended up working from home roughly 4 or 5 years. And for the first 2 years, bro, it was fun. It was great. Around year 4 or 5, I actually started to feel like there was something happening within me, bro. I own a home, 3 bedroom, garage, the whole nine. And in my garage, I had built a gym. I also have a home office. Needless to say, I'm a homebody too, right? So it got to the point, bro, where 24 by 7, I was home. I had no reason to leave my house unless it was to get food. I had the gym in my garage. I had the home office, which was my work, and then my living space and my bedroom, which was for rest and sleep. I had no business ever having to leave my house. And I just remember that feeling of like feeling trapped, feeling like a prisoner in my own home, and ultimately feeling the isolation of like, man, I feel like I'm in a self made prison that I can't get out of.
I'm glad you mentioned that because the way you framed it was so perfect. It almost did remind me of a lot of the research I was reading through in our pre show prep meeting. A lot of these dudes, they're almost in too deep. And it almost seems like they've created a very comfortable, friction free life. But almost like quicksand, they realize that they're too deep into it to do anything about it because it's so comfortable to live a life like that. And I think you kind of gave a good sequence of how it started off harmlessly and you thought it was a good thing. And then it dawned on you. I mean, you should speak on when was the moment you had the moment of clarity where you were like, wait, I think it's the life I've built for myself that has me in this quicksand of not touching grass, talking to people, and just being screen dependent.
Yeah, listen, the pandemic created a new norm for us, right? So part of the reason why I built a gym in my garage was because I thought that if I went to the gym and I touched different machines and got different germs, that I would be sick or I would get COVID. So it created this like fear-based society of like almost being afraid to go outside because you didn't want to get sick. So I think initially when the pandemic hit, a lot of people were just building their life of comfort around that, around safety, not getting sick, keeping your physical health. But I think what people didn't realize was there was going to be some adverse effects with building that comfort, which is your mental health. What does that do to you when you're constantly looking at a screen or a monitor, 24/7, when you're not meeting people for lunch, or you're not meeting people in person for any activities, when you're just completely isolated in your own home? Like, what does that do to your mental psyche in the long run? I don't think anybody knew or anybody thought of that during that time. So here we are.
I was reading through a lot of like younger men that were probably 15, 16, 17 when the pandemic happened. And then they kind of described their 5 year period similar to yours. And I went through it as well. And I was overwhelmed with empathy when I realized that think about being 15, 16, and 17 and your entire high school community. You're a teenager going through very pivotal parts of your life, and you've been put into a vacuum that's basically your mom, your dad, your brother, your sister, and you're taking courses from your bedroom, your living room. I never thought of that. I never thought of young people that are developing at a very crucial time of their lives and losing their most like important years to their personal development, the things that give them their personality, the things that give them their confidence, their social skills. It was basically robbed of them. And then they were forced to go to college or post college, or they had already graduated and been pushed into the workforce. And a lot of the workforce was saying you can work from home. It's an interesting and almost a conversation that has no solution. I think what we're trying to attack is hey, if you feel deep mood swings and you feel very upset, depressed, angry, agitated from someone that is always at home, that is the conversation of this episode. If I'm not wrong, Rich, because I don't think we could fix the past. If you were someone that was isolated for the past 5 years, my heart goes out to you, but maybe Rich and I can help you give you a roadmap to adapting to a world that is not being home all day. And how do you get your footing back and gain your social skills and learn a world where there are people out there enjoying themselves? You can make a living, you can make friends sitting at home. It's not impossible. But Rich and I, we're recommending that you probably take the step that requires you to go outside because there's a lot more benefits that come from that, at least more than come from being screen dependent and being someone that is exclusively working from home.
Yeah. And listen, feeling that feeling is normal. Like, it's great if you're self observing that you feel isolated in your own home. Work from home has created this small bubble that you're living in, and you're not going out with friends as frequently as you used to, or you don't have that social circle that you once had. And we're saying that if you feel that in the pit of your stomach, bro, that is okay. That means that you're acknowledging that there's a void and that there's something missing, and it's okay to reclaim that. Like, this is what we're gonna walk through today. It's just steps on how to touch grass and get outside of your house. I remember during the pandemic, you vividly told me one time, you were like, bro, I still get dressed like if I'm going to work because
I forgot
because
about that.
yeah, because you were like, bro, the routine, like if
Yeah.
I lose the routine of going, taking a shower, getting dressed, putting some nice clothes on, putting cologne on, like I'm going to feel that I'm secluded to this like confined space of an apartment. And I remember you vividly, you used to work from like the balcony of the house or like the patio because you just wanted to break the monotony of being stuck in an apartment working, 10, 12 hours a day.
Use a good word, the monotony. That was what drove me crazy. I almost have trouble fully identifying with this topic because I am a social beast. I'm not just like a regular social person. A lot of what makes my career and helps me make a living is my ability to communicate with everyone. I'm fortunate in the way that I was always a social butterfly in middle school, high school. Hell, I remember my mom telling me stories about me in kindergarten where I used to disrupt other kids during nap time because I didn't want to nap. I wanted to talk to people. So I found it hard to really tackle this subject in a way that was me truly being empathetic to the person that is struggling now that everybody is free and they can go outside. We're not in the pandemic anymore. And I'm glad you brought that up, Rich, because me getting dressed and me getting on the phone with all my friends throughout the week was me coping with the fact that I couldn't use my superpower. I almost love your perspective on this because you have admitted to me, like, yo, I am a homebody. I am someone that enjoys a good routine where I do the same four things every day. And I think it's a surprise to people that may know you from this platform or may know you as social rich. But what is it about this subject and you as an individual that you can understand what this person that is suffering from social isolation and they feel like their friends are decaying or their close knit circles are decaying or anything that allows them to have a two-way conversation is decaying? What is it about this framing of this subject that like made you excited to want to talk about this one today?
Yeah, listen, too much of anything is not good, right? And I found myself working from home having too much of that, which created
But it
isolation.
wasn't a negative. I think that's the point. Like to you, if somebody brought it up to you, you'd be like, "What's the problem?" Like I'm
Yeah.
getting my
So
work done. I'm making money. I'm communicating with everybody on chat. Like, what's the problem?
yeah, initially it wasn't a negative, but what happened was I ended up getting a job that was fully in office 5 days a week. And bro, like a hero losing his superpowers, I felt like I lost the ability to communicate effectively. I lost a lot of social skills. I lost the ability to small talk. I lost the abilities to just walk up to a random person and ask them a question. I felt so confined to myself that almost timid in a way to talk to people. And bro, social skills, interpersonal skills are like fitness. They are a muscle that if you don't flex, you will lose. And I found myself losing that skill. And that's the warning that we're sharing with our viewers today, right? It's like if this is a muscle that you need to flex, if you don't talk to people, if you don't talk to your friends, if you don't have hobbies, that if you don't spend time with other people outside of your orbit, you're going to lose that interpersonal skills that you need as a human to live in everyday society.